Back from the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all invited to go fucking mental.
Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. It is yours truly, Krystal Leandra here today with Cat. We're doing a really awesome chat about Salem today because it is, what is it, like Women's Month or something like that? I don't even know what it is. It's so bad. Sorry, I work way too much. I know that it was surrounding by like celebration of women for the month, and I thought it would be really good to do a chat about Salem for a lot of reasons. One being that most of the women that were killed due to witchcraft in Salem were women. There was a couple of men that were involved. And the other thing is they didn't recently find where the site happened, where the executions took place, till literally like within the last year. And they just recently, like within the last month from that, have put up an actual memorial site. So it's crazy that it took like 200 or 300, 400 years, you know what I mean, to get like a site and like a burial ground down. Like, that's nice, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to just bring Kat in right now. Hello, Miss Kat. How are you today?
Hello, how are you?
I am wonderful. We are having a really cool chat. We're going to do Salem first. So this is a paranormal chat if you're new to the channel. It's going to be Salem first. Then we're going to swing into some ghost adventures because they had a more recent show on Discovery Plus that was also surrounding summoning what they said was demons due to like a type of witchcraft. So we want to kind of tear that apart. I'm actually going to bounce around for a minute, though. I know that Facebook streaming, when we're streaming live, like, we have a ton of people that download the podcast, so I know some people won't even hear this till later. But for some reason, our stream for Facebook hasn't been working. So I go through a program that's called Restream, and I think I'm going to get rid of Restream and start streaming on Streamlabs, which can also give you a platform for multiple locations. So I know there's been people complaining that like they like to watch it live on Facebook. I'm sorry guys, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with Restream lately, but we're gonna can it because I pay for it monthly, so it should be working. Okay. Work. Why aren't you working? Okay, I pay for you. Do you want to give me money back? Because for like the past 2 or 3 months you haven't been working correctly. Okay. So anyway, first I want to chat a little bit about Kat and I made the decision to set up memberships on YouTube. Okay. So now this was a long discussion, right? Kat. Hey, Kat, Chatty Cat.
I like that nickname, you know, it's Chatty Cat. It's so true.
Oh, okay. So we talked about Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about OnlyFans. We considered OnlyFans.
We were this close, you guys, like literally this close to doing it.
I actually created an OnlyFans page for Ghost Girl Diaries, but the concern that I had was I don't want people to get the wrong idea. You know what I mean? Like,
watch this 50-minute pilot.
I'm
on OnlyFans.
I'm screaming. God, Restream still isn't working. I still can't see how many people are on. I can see the chat in the Twitch channel. It's just a pain in the butt. So I'm just going to get rid of Restream. I'm tired of dealing with it. But yeah, we made an OnlyFans page and we were this close to you know, utilizing it because, you know, a lot of our fans are saying you should just make an OnlyFans. And, you know, it was meant, originally it wasn't meant for like porn and like the porn industry. And I get that, but now it's taken over that industry, you know? And I was really afraid having a page called Ghost Girl Diaries that there were people, we're going to get the wrong crowd. You know what I'm saying? They're going to get the wrong crowd coming in there, okay? And then there was going to be sheer disappointment because it was not going to be what they were expecting. So, so we were throwing around all these ideas. I did consider putting the pilot on Amazon. Kat, as you guys know, is a singer. She's had multiple albums out. She has multiple albums out right now on iTunes, Spotify. You can find them anywhere. And being an artist, whether it's film or vocally, like musician, you get paid like pennies on the dollar. Like,
it's nothing. It's nothing. Yeah. I mean, okay, we want to talk numbers. Let me talk numbers for a second for my stuff. Elm's Landing album, the 5-song EP album, was about $9,000 to make. And we've had well over like 10,000 or 11,000 like streams just on Spotify, and I've made $23.
Wow,
So that's just to give you a little insight. I mean, not that it's just for the money, but I mean, you work hard on something and you expect to see some form of compensation,
Same.
But it's not that much for royalties.
Which you would think,
You
paying
would think.
$9,000 for an album. It's not a penny, like that's not a penny. And then you look at something like the pilot, like I did, okay? So the pilot, I wish it cost $9,000. I wish it did. That's cheap, you know what I mean? Like, that's a clap. But mine, the pilot cost us, me, $100,000 to make one pilot. And that's pretty typical, that's pretty typical. But to put it on Amazon, I was literally going to be getting pennies back. And that didn't make sense to me, like, and once again, not that it's about the money. It's really not. It's just about, you put so much work and effort, like blood, sweat, and tears into something. You want it to get into the right hands. Like, for me, it's not even necessarily about the exposure, like, I'm not really worried about the exposure. So Kat and I did decide to make a subscription setup on YouTube, and we've actually had quite a few people sign up. So shout out to you guys. We love you guys. And I did put a Amazon wish list in the bio, which I'm going to include that in every single bio, so that people can see what we need and see what the money is going towards from the subscriptions. Like, this isn't a typical money grab, like I always say. A lot of YouTubers will be like, oh yeah, I set up a subscription for my fans to. That's not what this is about. This is kind of like, you could think of it as crowdfunding, and you guys are sort of on the journey with us, and it's very expensive. Our story now, what it's taken and how hard it's been through this whole journey of expunging all of the last resorts that we could to try to get the pilot signed in the middle of a pandemic. And so yeah, we have to move on to the next one, and we've already had people sign up. So shout out, we love you guys. Thank you so much. Like, it makes Kat and I not feel so alone.
Yeah, the support means so much.
It does, knowing that people like are excited for us and like want to know what the future like holds and what it's bringing. So we appreciate you guys. So we have 4 different subscription tiers. I don't have all the info in front of me. One is $3.99, one is $9.99, one's $24.99, and one's $49.99. The $9.99 one, so $10, is the one that you have to sign up for if you want to see the pilot on YouTube. It's on a private channel. Well, it's on our channel, but it's like a private section of the channel. And we've already had, I think, 10 people have watched it or something like that.
Yeah, super excited.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I'm excited. So if you guys are interested in subscribing for us so that you can see all the hard work that not only myself did, but my entire crew did. Kat, what was your experience shooting a pilot? Like, your first official pilot?
Honestly, it felt damn good. It felt really good to put all of that work and, because Krystal taught me and other members film. So I was really excited to put it to work.
Implement everything you've learned. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such an amazing experience, and I'm itching to get back on set. So,
yeah, you watched the sizzle. So Kat and I, we know what the sizzle reel looks like. Obviously, we know what the trailer looks like. We know what the pilot looks like. We probably watched it. I think we've watched the pilot like maybe 200 times, if not more, like literally. So you and I haven't seen the pilot in like a year, right?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
We needed a break.
So I finally uploaded like the sizzle, the trailer, and Kat was watching it when I first uploaded it like a week ago, and Kat calls me. She's like, "Oh my god, I forgot how good it is. It's so good. I forgot."
Watching it on the phone with Krystal, I was like, that drone footage though. That drone is like so good.
The drone footage was really, really good. Yeah, we had some complications with the drone footage too because should we talk about it?
Yes. I think we should, because it's a good release.
We filmed.
I'm laughing so hard, and I shouldn't have been laughing.
We filmed in this town called Chloride, Arizona. That's no secret at this point, and it's kind of like a black hole. And it is, you know, you got Chupacabra, you got Bigfoot, you've got hellhounds, you've got aliens, you got, you know, demons and ghosts. You got a little bit of everything in there. But for some reason, the drone, there must be really, well, okay, it's a mining town. It's an old mining town. I told you guys how the location we were in was actually sliding into the mine, like, quite literally. And there's copper, there was gemstones, so, because we found crystal up the mountains, didn't we? We found crystal and rose quartz, and there was quartz everywhere. So, like, I think everything. There's literally everything. So, because you have this natural mines coming up from the earth, which is all electromagnetic fields generating, the drone damn battery kept dying, like, over and over again. And we had taken 3 backups, but we would get the drone in the air for like 10 minutes, and then the EMS were like, drain. And we didn't want the drone to crash, because that's like $1,000 drone, you know?
Right. Yeah, and it was like laughable at that point, because it just happened so much. You know, we were just like, all right, it's fine. Just get the cameras out. It's fine. We'll just go and walk it.
There was a couple yeah, we did. Yeah, there was a couple times we had to walk up and down the mountains. Krystal's an idiot because she was wearing Demonia boots. God. Okay. We were not planning on going hiking. I didn't take my docs with me. I had my Demonia boots. I thought I was going to die. I can't believe I didn't roll down that mountain, honest to God. Kat was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm fine.
You just had to take small steps. It was fine. But these boulders, like, on these mountains that were literally like this, you had to, like, climb over these rocks.
Yes.
That were, like...
And I did that in Demonia boots. And if you don't know what Demonia is, Google it, because it's ridiculous. It was so stupid. Because it's traumatic. Yeah, it's trauma. Oh, Nikita said, anyone who hasn't bought Krystal's book, I finished it today, and wow, standing ovation, absolutely blown away. Thank you, girl. I appreciate you.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm almost done with questions to ask Krystal some things.
Yeah, we're gonna do a separate stream, so it probably won't be on a Friday. It's gonna be literally like an extra day of an extra stream. And Kat's gonna give me a journalism questionnaire about the book, and that'll. Do I have the right to respond with I plead the fifth? I'm just kidding.
I'll give you them before we go on.
Oh, good.
Over. We gotta make sure.
Yeah, no. The overall theme of the book was, no matter what your struggles are, remember, you wrote this shit in your path, boo. I don't care how hard it is. You planned it before you got here. And there's no right or wrong way to deal with things. You just have to make sure you know and you're solid on your path and overcome it, no matter how hard your struggles are. And we all have struggles, whether that's internally or externally. And it doesn't matter about the destination. It's about the journey, and it's making sure that you're putting yourself first. Self-love, self-healing is like always the answer, in my opinion, when it comes to struggles. So yeah, thank you, Nikita. I appreciate you for that little chat. So let's scoop into Salem, because we have some tea on Ghost Adventures.
Yeah.
And I finally was able to get through that episode. You know what I mean?
Oh, you did?
Well, I got so bitter because he had, like, the female camera tech. And once again, it wasn't because she was a female. It was just because, wow, it took a while, you know?
Okay, I'm going to add this in here just because I feel the need to do so. But he said on that episode that, like, she had been there for a while. I looked up her credentials, and she's been there since last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
She's
a while.
done 3 episodes.
Well, it's more than one.
So, I think he's being a little overdramatic, you know what I'm saying? He's being a little too overzealous.
Well, you know, he's proud. He's proud of himself for having a quality, so that's good. Okay. The infamous Salem witch trials began spring of 1692. Why are all of my Macs are all going off at once? I don't know what's happening. They're giving me alerts, and there's no alerts. You know what I mean? So clearly, yeah, there's witches in my office. What's new? So I'm going to spurt something out really quickly because I feel like this part's always left out. Kat lives in New England, as you guys know. She has been to Salem as many times as I've been to the Stanley Hotel. Like hundreds, okay? Like literally. And the thing that people always leave out when they're discussing Salem and the Salem witch trials is, you know, the first thing you think of is, oh, there was a bunch of people living in Massachusetts or New England, whatever, and they were practicing witchcraft, and the government didn't want that to happen, so they decided to hang them. None of them were burned here in the United States. That was all done in Europe, predominantly like Ireland and Scotland, a few in England, but predominantly Ireland, Scotland. So a lot of people get that mixed up. Another thing they don't realize is that when there was an actual witch hunt going on here in America, the people that were accused were getting their land revoked by the government. So it was actually a huge conspiracy that people always forget to bring up. So what was happening is, if you were accused of witchcraft, the government was automatically allowed to go in and take all of your land from you and your family. 100%. They owned it now. So the government was purposely like putting out what they called witch hunters to go out and find people that were being accused by their communities, or, I mean, what would you call it back then? A parish, maybe? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like when it's a little communities, and they would find like a witch hunter. It was like, okay, who's in here being accused of a witch? And they go, oh, Mary's accused of a witch. Mary, we're going to hang you at the stake, and now the government gets to take your land and keep it. So honestly, it wasn't about witchcraft. It was about persecuting women, and it was about taking the land, and the government was doing shitty things to the people. Haha, once again, what's new? So people don't realize it wasn't really even about witchcraft or magic. It was about conspiracies against women and taking and obtaining the land. And to this day, the government still owns some of the properties because it was handed over. If there were no like alienation, or if people weren't able to hand it down to like nephews or grandsons or whatever, the government literally scooped it and took it, and that was it, and it was never given back. And it's just bullshit, you know. Like,
it's hard. It's so hard. I'm actually gonna be going back to Salem soonish. They just reopened Salem, and I want to go to the apothecary there. So I need to go get some things. You know what I'm saying? But you know, based off of some of the transcripts in the early time of the trials, probably within anywhere between the first like 3 to 4 months of them happening, because they really only lasted a year. They didn't really last that long. But in the beginning, they were convinced that there was some dark energy happening, because Salem, but what's also known as Danvers at the time, was going through some real bad shit. Disease, people dying. It was a really bad winter. Crops were dying, and at that time, anywhere you would go, they would blame it on a dark energy or dark forces, and then all of that. And it was probably about the 5th or 6th month in, throughout the remainder of the year, that yes.
Oh, your audio cut out. Wait. That was weird.
Ooh, that was weird. I totally just paused.
Your whole audio cut out for like a minute, like straight up.
Really?
Yeah, you were just like gone.
Okay. What did you last hear?
You were talking about how, I don't even know, I got so distracted because I was watching you, because you were literally still talking, and like there was no audio, and I was watching your arms to see if you accidentally paused your mic, and I knew you didn't.
It's so weird.
And then all of a sudden your screen like froze, and you were like frozen.
This is weird.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got really distracted. Oh my god, you froze again. I can hear your audio. There you
Oh my god.
Ew, I'm really creeped out right now. I think Kat's got a demon in her house, everybody. Kat is so connected to Salem. It's not even funny. I'm just going to take her screen off for a minute to see if she comes back. I'm actually going to disconnect with her, and then I'm going to try to recall her again. She's had attachments that have come home with her from Salem, so this does not shock me Okay, she said 1 second, so I think she's going to restart her program. So, yeah, she had an attachment that was coming home with her from Salem for quite a while, actually. And it was a female living, like, that would, like, live with her, and it was in this long, white, flowing sort of dress. And, wow, even my restream's kind of freezing a little bit. But anyway, this energy didn't like if there were men in her apartment. It got really weird with her. And let's see, she's calling me back here. Anyway, she has a male roommate that was living with her, and the male roommate was starting to like get really weird visions at night and like chest pressure and stuff. And she finally had to, like, ask it to leave and not come back. So I'm not shocked by her having technology issues. How's it going, Miss Cat?
Never happened. Ever.
I got really sidetracked. Like, I don't even remember where we left off. Because I was literally like... Did it do it again?
Okay, how many live streams have I done with you, Krystal?
I mean, way too many to count.
This has never happened.
Mm-mm.
I'm just saying, if Salem's back, you need to wait a minute, okay? Can we just wait? It's been a minute.
So this is her attachment. She actually named her attachment. I was telling everybody about your attachment. She actually named her attachment Salem, and it's a female.
Yeah.
She's not, she doesn't hurt women, but she does not like men. She does not like men at all. So that Kat believes she is a, possibly an energy that was killed, during the Salem witch trials. And she comes often to like check on Kat. Kat will know when she's there. But if Kat makes a trip to Salem, Mass to like go shopping or whatever, it's strong. It gets really strong, doesn't it, for like a few days?
It does. I genuinely think it's past family.
How's it sound over there? Is there anything, movement going on or anything like that?
Okay, this is weird. Are you there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm here.
All right. I'm wondering if I should... Let me try my laptop.
Okay. Call me back.
I'm gonna try my laptop. This is weird. Okay, bye.
Bye. All right. Sorry, guys. Maybe she just lost feed. No, I mean, we've done 80 streams together, and this is the first time it's happened, and it happens to be on the stream we're talking about Salem. You know what I mean? I don't believe in coincidences, though, at this point, so that's just personally me. I was actually supposed to go with her to Salem last May. I had, like, my flight and my everything ready to go May of 2020, but COVID hit in March, and I had to cancel my trip. So I was really upset about that. I'd love to go back out there still, but Salem was actually shut down for quite a while because they didn't want tourists in because of COVID. So they weren't even letting anyone come in. Like, unless you had a Massachusetts license, you weren't allowed to go into Salem at all. And Kat lives in New Hampshire, which is only a couple hours away. It's a little bit north. But she wasn't able to go in because she doesn't have a Mass license. So, I'm waiting for her to come back through. Does anybody have any questions? You guys want to chat about anything like that? Don't blame her for not liking men. Look, okay. It was 90% women that were hung at the stake. That's all I'm gonna say. And it was usually brought on by powerful men in the government. So I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying. You guys. Oh, tarnished Massachusetts reputation. Yeah, well, I don't know. You know, people in Mass are very open to Salem still to this day. Thank God Kat has her backup laptop, huh? How's it going?
Oh my gosh, my lighting is horrible on this. Ew.
Well,
hang on a second.
Okay, tell me when you're ready. Go ahead.
Okay.
I took you off camera. I can hear you still, unless you want to mute your mic.
I'll mute my mic.
Okay. Someone looking for questions we have. How do you know if you have an attachment? You mean like when I go to the museum and come home with Ed Gein? Like, I mean, it's not a fun thing to do. I don't know. You have to be in tune energetically. Kat has actually gotten her attachment from Salem on camera, though. She's gotten pictures of her. It's this girl with like this long, white, flowing 1800s, 1600s dress, corseted lace, like you can see it. And she's gotten photos and images of it. For some reason, it liked hanging around the bathroom of her house. I don't know why. But every time if you sit in her bedroom, I think, or no, it's her living room, you can see the hallway, and you could see it walking through the hallway. She'd constantly send me pictures. It looks like a woman with her hair up in like kind of like a bun type of thing, and then a long white flowing sort of lace dress, corseted, big poofy, like bouffants type of dress. And are we back? Are we ready?
Back. Hopefully it looks okay and sounds okay. I don't have my mic attached to this thing.
No, you sound fine. You sound fine.
Okay, great.
Oh, good.
Hey guys, sorry.
Thanks. So,
I'm so sorry.
Somebody wanted to know how you know. Well, I mean, Nikita said, "How do you know if you have an attachment?" I mean, I said energetically speaking. You know, like if I go to the museum, I come home with Ed Gein. Like, yay, great, Ed Gein's in my house. How do you know if you have an attachment?
So when I got home from Salem, there was a definite, I agree with that, like energetic shift. And also what happened was I was having like weird, like what happened now with my computer technology issues, really weird cold spots in the house as well. And the first time I saw her was in front of my bedroom television.
Yep.
It was black screen. I don't ever watch TV in the bedroom, so honestly I don't even know why I have a TV in the bedroom, but I just do. And I saw her hair like flowing this way against like the black screen, but it was like a faint white
misty
look.
sort of thing.
Yeah, like misty look. And she also liked the balcony a lot. She liked the patio. So I would see like the back of her dress flow out, and she would walk out there. But it's been a long time since she's been here. So that was very, very strange. I've literally never had that happen before on my computer. I have used that computer for a long time, and that was wild. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted by Salem, it's fine. I'm gonna have to stage later because that was not cool.
I have to stage cool now. Great, I did it yesterday. I have to do it again. It's
crazy. But yeah, so it like around the 5th or 6th month into it, these men started realizing that people weren't going to ask questions about it, and that's
you mean when the accusations against witches started. So 6-7 months into it, then no one's questioning it, and then that's when they're gonna start abusing the system, sort of thing.
Exactly, because the last guy, and this is when people started to figure it out, because Giles Corey, if you guys are familiar with the stories of Salem witch trials, Giles Corey was the last to die. He was pressed to death with rocks, and literally his last words were "more weight," because he just did not care. He knew what they were doing at that point. Giles had some instances just for being a grumpy old man, but he never did anything really wrong. And when he was pressed to death, and after he died, everyone started questioning what was going on, because Giles owned like half of the land in what used to be called Danvers, Massachusetts, and it's now Salem. So that's when it kind of stopped, and people started asking questions, and then other people from other places were coming in saying like, this needs to stop. Like, this is hysteria, what you're doing. And Judge Jonathan Corwin, so where the witch house is in Salem, which is still there, by the way, it's beautiful in there, he actually ended up packing out of there.
Yeah, he left, right?
After. He left the house to his family, and yeah, he was like, peace out. I'm like, wonder why? Probably because you're a piece of poo human. So. And
you don't think he's in that house, because you've been in that house several times. You don't feel his energy.
No, I have seen his youngest son. I have seen his youngest son in there. I saw him clear as day, in a white nightgown. And it had been a while since I'd been in the witch house, because I go there so much, I don't really feel like a tourist there anymore. But I was bringing a friend to Salem and brought her to the witch house, and I saw him as a young boy. He had long blonde hair and like a white nightgown in my peripheral, and of course you look, nothing's there. A friend of mine came back from downstairs and told me that exact description was on an oil canvas painting upstairs of the youngest son. His name was George. Which was crazy. But I mean, there's definitely residual hauntings in the kitchen, And I did talk to a tour guide there saying that there is still movement up there. And that would not shock me, only because of the fact that it hasn't been put on paper, but I believe it because of how just messed up this whole thing was in the first place, that there were accusations and like what is that word when they were trying to like find the witch's mark. They were doing it's not prosecution, I can't remember what the word is, but they were like dealing with people inside of the house because of how many people were being accused of witchcraft. So there was like a line of women secretly in the home being really abused to try to find any type of mark for being a witch. Which, by the way, could just be like a mole. Usually is. Well, technically, I have one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I probably would have been hung, and I'd be like, look, I don't have any land. What are y'all gonna do? Like, I've got. My face. I would have been burned. Okay. They would have been fine. Yeah, I'm dead. So just to back it up too, one thing I wanted to say was, where did like the witch hunt start? So it actually started in Europe, between 1300 and year 1330. And it ended around the 18th century in Switzerland around 1782. But the events in Salem took place in 1692. So I assume it took that long to get the messages sort of across to America, you know, where it was like, oh, there's witches, they're going to take over the world, and like blah, blah, blah. And, you know, long-term exposure, what that ended up causing is that's, in my opinion, what caused paganism to like become a thing. Because if you're a witch, it doesn't, you can do whatever you want. You know, like I've said before, like being a paranormal investigator is witchcraft. You're doing necromancy. You're talking to the dead. That is witchcraft. Even if that's all you do, that is still a form of witchcraft. And what I think happened was they had these people that not only like the land and like the abuses going on, you know, within that, and then like control of women as well. But women found something to, because it was predominantly women that were practicing witchcraft, because a man would technically be considered a warlock. Doesn't really matter. You can identify as either. But back then, a woman was witchcraft. And in my opinion, it was like women were becoming empowered from a time where they had been known to walk in their husband's shadow. And it was like society was like, oh, we got to shut this down. We can't let these women get empowered. We got to shut this down immediately. And, you know, you're talking about using potions and oils and leaves. Really, like that's really all you're using, you know, but like it can also create hysteria, fear. I do see that side of it, of like, oh, someone's gonna hex me or curse me. That's a different form of witchcraft. But generally speaking, I don't think it was that. I just think they wanted to take, you know, the women empowering movement away, of like coven, right? Think of the word coven, which is like a group of women together who are practicing witchcraft. And they don't want you to be together to empower each other. They want to take that control back. What do you think about it, Kat?
They do. I you know, there's strength in numbers, and I think that men instinctively know, even now, how powerful we are as individuals, you know? And imagine that magnified by like 10 strong women in a group. And I think that's why there was such a stigma for so long that women needed to stay home. How could they cultivate friendships with other women if they were forced to be home?
I agree.
You can't. Like, it was all for a reason, for them to be the alpha male or the dominating whatever. And unfortunately, like, a lot of people fell for that because there was a lot of fear with that.
Well, the other side of the fear is like when paganism broke off and became a thing, which is, I would say, more of 18th, 19th century. The reason, so now I've said this before, not all witches are pagan. All pagans are witches. Okay, so make sure you get that distinction down. Mostly, in my opinion, the people that took on the name pagan is because the persecution of the title witch. They do not want to have the title of witch because of society. Now, when witch hunts started, like way back in the day, and I'm not talking Salem, I'm talking European witch hunts, they truly believed that they followed Satan to trade souls for his assistance, and that those witches summoned demons to accomplish black magic deeds. Now, I'm not saying all do that, and I'm not saying all don't do that.
But I'm saying that they used the power of fear to scare people who didn't practice witchcraft to be like, oh God, like I don't want a witch in my parish or like little community, whatever. They might be working for Satan. And they, you know, then you go into things like, which Kat and I are going to go into a bigger conversation about this at the end of the month. So this is a really good introduction comparing religion to paganism to even Christianity and to witchcraft. They say black magic or witchcraft is the only ones or practices that do animal sacrifices. That's not true. I mean, if you go back to Christianity, Catholicism times, older, I mean, actually, witchcraft is probably one of the most original belief systems of the world. And then it's been taken and reinterpreted through different religions, and that includes Christianity and even parts of Catholicism, such as celebrating Christmas with a tree. That's actually considered a Yule tree, which is originated in, if you put up a Christmas tree, guess what? You practice witchcraft. Do you blow out candles on your birthday? Guess what? That's witchcraft. Do you think that, I don't know, a symbolism of a black cat is bad luck? Guess what? That's witchcraft. Do you have paranoias? Like I have a paranoia. I don't like fake keys. I had a key necklace. I used to be obsessed with key necklaces. Yes. Superstitions. Do you believe in superstitions? Guess what? That's witchcraft. And it's been, yep, anything. Literally, you could do you think that if you stir your coffee like for good luck one way or bad luck another, or like don't go under certain, you know, doorways or because it's bad luck, or like stop before you go over a bridge or stop before you go over train tracks, guess what? That's all witchcraft, people. It's all witchcraft. It's just been reinterpreted in different ways, and people don't realize it, and that's what makes your brain like go, because you're just like, why are you so afraid of witchcraft when you practice your birthday with candles? Like, it makes no sense. Do you want a tangent on that at all? Oh, one more thing. They believed, this is funny though, they believed that another reason they didn't like witches is that they would not only devil worship, but they would have secret meetings and orgies, and they would take your husband from you. Well,
yeah,
it's a good thing we didn't go to OnlyFans then. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my god! I'm crying.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Tangent. Take it and go. I want you to go. Talk about the sorcery. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's just a little, I don't know, hypocritical to say, you know, to just think that anything like that is dark. Because I feel like if you're a Catholic, I was born and raised Catholic, but that's not where I'm at now, okay? We're not there. We are not there.
Sorry, I
Right?
can't.
We're not even gonna go there. I actually saw something the other day that was like, if you know the song Oceans by Hillsong, you're now a witch. Like, literally, like, straight up. I was hilarious. Anyway, I was like, wow, the trauma's here now. Thank you.
Woo.
But, you know, even people that are of high authority, or the Pope, or people of high religious stature, with intention, they could also be doing some side devil worship. Like, who knows? You know what I mean? Like, nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like witchcraft in general embodies authenticity to the max. Doing what you love and having the freedom to be able to choose what you want to do. And there's beauty in that. That's just truth. And I feel like anything outside of what's in the book is just seen as evil, the devil, you know, because that's all they know. You know, that's just very narrow-minded. Like, that's just how they were brought up. And okay, fine. But don't push that on somebody else that might not believe in that, or let alone hang them for witchcraft.
Or burn them
I mean?
alive. My God,
Or
let's get
burn
even
them
more.
alive,
Yeah.
Drown them, which, by the way, that makes no sense to me. If you die, you were actually not a witch, but if you float, you're a witch. That makes no sense to me.
So
It's just-
out of all those people, did anyone float? Or no, they didn't, because you're not going to float because you're in a human vessel.
Yeah, and so now you killed someone. That's great. Good talk. Forgot about that one. Okay.
Well, now someone just said I trust a witch way more than a priest. No, I'm not gonna say that either, because I have, there's a balance. You gotta have a balance, man. Like, I love archangel stuff. I love Saint Michael stuff. Cat has a very amazing. Is he a priest or a father? He's father.
He's a father. Yep, he's a father Christian, who was a monk for 13 years.
And you love him, and he love him. Like, he's a family member to you. Like, you may not practice Catholicism, but you still have, areas of religion in your life. And I feel like the point of it is taking things that work for you and resonate with you without allowing something take you over with the state of fear, if that makes sense.
True.
Which is why I don't go to church, on Sundays, because now Kat does, but she sings, so she's getting paid for it. It's a different thing. But
That's what you do. My dad doesn't see this.
Oh my god, I'm screaming. No, but you do. It's true though. You appreciate what you want to take out of it. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're not gonna sit there and let people put you in purgatory either by saying, Kat, on social media you talk about being a green witch, yet you're gonna go to church on Sundays and pray to God. You better pray for forgiveness. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't tolerate that, which is also coming in with boundaries, right?
Yeah, 100%. And intention,
Mm-hmm.
There are even out there, there are actually a lot of people on TikTok that consider themselves Christian witches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
And, and it's just very, it's just open-minded. No one's judging them for what they're doing, so why feel the need to do that to others? And I feel like you bringing up Father Christian was a really great point, because I started out Catholic, but he's like an Anglican priest, and which is pretty much Catholic. It still follows the Roman diocese, whatever. But he, was really devout, took a vow of silence for 13 years, and is very aware of what I'm doing. Very aware.
Oh, he
Full
is.
Transparency. I've been in the hide. And you know what he did? He gave me blessed St. Michael objects to take with me to locations.
But he loves horror. Now, wait a second.
He does.
You need to share the whole story here, okay?
I'll share the whole story, yes.
Because this father has been a part of Kat's life since she was actually born. And he comes to Kat's house for, dinner sometimes. And he'll request to watch paranormal or horror movies. And this man has done actual exorcisms on people, right?
Yeah, and it's so crazy because, his personality outside of the church is really different than, how he is in it. And, obviously, when he's in church, I'm telling you, from when I was younger and watched him, he goes into, a trance-like state. And I think I just had, major respect for that, even, take God out of it. I just had really, big respect for the fact that he was, really in his rituals, just in general, But outside of that, yeah, he's very big into, watching The Exorcist. Christmas time, he'll come over for Christmas, and he's like, all right, we need to watch Krampus. That's literally our tradition every year, is to watch Krampus. It's so bizarre. So I don't have a very, your typical whatever situation, but it's possible. Everyone's just so dang uptight. Everyone just needs to breathe, okay? Yeah.
Well, okay, Nikita asked one thing. She said, so if blowing out birthday candles is considered witchcraft, could certain routines also be considered witchcraft? Of course.
Oh.
If you're superstitious of putting your socks on before your pants, that's witchcraft, boo. If you have to put your left shoe on before your right, that's also witchcraft, boo. Literally, yeah, it's all, but the thing is that, we need to roll it back to a time when witchcraft was the only religion on the earth, because that was a time of it existed. Yes, before Catholicism, before Christianity, there was a time the only belief system was witchcraft. So if you were living in that time, and I'm not talking when the witch trials go on, I'm not talking when the witch hunts were happening, would you then be ashamed to be like, oh girl, I tripped down this ravine one day, I fell in a river, and after that I'll never put my right shoe on before my left? Would you be afraid to say, yes, I practiced witchcraft at that time? No, because everybody to this day still practices witchcraft. You celebrate Easter, that's also witchcraft, literally. It is. You celebrate Valentine's Day, that's Lupercalia. That's also witchcraft. Like, everything we celebrate in the United States is actual witchcraft. And for us to sit here and have to study the Salem witch trials of people getting persecuted and murdered for what we're still practicing today makes no fucking sense, okay?
God, I'm coughing. Yeah, no, it's just so the irony, okay? It's sick.
The point of this that we're trying to make, and I hope it's very clear, which is, witchcraft isn't a big deal. Like, God, it's not. I mean, like, okay, it's a big deal if you're sacrificing animals. I mean, like Elfie has said, Elfie is, you know, she is vegan. However, she says there are still some societies that practice sacrifices. Sure, right. I'm not one of those societies personally, okay? I don't sacrifice things. I think that's gross. I think I would freak out on somebody if they did do something, because I have my Native, but that's my belief system being a Native American, which is, as a Native American, you respect all things that are living, everything that's living, and that includes a plant. It's also the empath in me. You respect the plant. You respect everything about life in general. So do I agree with sacrifices? No. Do people still do it to this day? Yeah. Do people in black magic do it? Yeah. And others, not just black magic, hoodoo, voodoo, even witchcraft, I'm sure they can interpret that. I don't agree with it. I mean, the point of this conversation is there is light and dark in everything we do. At any moment, anybody could take anything they have learned and turn it to the dark side. No matter what it is, it could go to the dark side. And it's not fair for, what was it, like 19 people that were hung? How many people were hung?
There were, I think it was 8 or 12, excuse me, I think it was 12, but a total of like 18 died or something.
Yeah,
oh, excuse me.
22 are on this list, and then there was 3 that were pardoned. So there's there's Bridget Bishop, Rebecca Nurse, Sarah Good, Elizabeth Howe, Susan Martin, Sarah Wilds, George Borowis, is that how you say it? Giles, which is who you brought up, Giles Corey. Mm-hmm. George James Sr., Martha Carrier, John Proctor, John Williard, Martha Corey, Martha Eatsy, Mary Parker, Alice Parker, Anne Poudier, Wilmot Reed, Margaret Scott, and Samuel Wardwell Sr. And then Anne Foster, Sarah Osborne died in prison, and 3 that were pardoned were Abigail Faulkner, Dorcas. There's a Dorcas? No wonder they... So that's where they got the name and Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yep. There was also a Prudence as well. I believe it was like the middle name of one of the people that wrote a letter out to their family.
Chanel was our Dorcas.
Yeah. Yes.
And then Elizabeth Proctor.
Yeah. 25 people died then. 19 were hung at Proctor's Ledge, and then 5 died in jail, and then Giles was pressed to death.
What is wrong with everybody?
Everything's wrong.
And people are still sitting around buying Christmas trees, putting a star on your Yule tree. This world makes me sick. I feel like Bette Midler in Hocus Pocus.
It's just so backwards.
Oh, wait, we have a lot of comments here. So talk about Giles for a minute. So he had the most amount of land. He was one of the last that was murdered, pressed to death. And he's the one that brought everybody up, like, having hysteria, because they were saying, this isn't right. Giles owned all this land in Massachusetts, and you only killed him and pressed him to death and tortured him to take his land from him, right?
Yep. I actually have a friend who has relation with Giles directly. So he's really, like, open about talking about him. But Giles had a really interesting, like, path in Salem, just because he was just that guy that worked really hard, had some money, owned a lot of land in Salem, Danvers, and just wanted to be left alone. Honestly, him and his wife just wanted to be left alone, and I believe someone accused his wife of witchcraft. I don't know if she died or not in jail, or if she was hung. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he was sick of it, and he was voicing that at every trial. He couldn't walk well. He was a grump, and I mean, being as old as he was at the time was old. Early 70s is old back then. you know, he willingly took death.
Hmm.
And I think instinctively he knew that was going to be the end of it.
Right.
Because he was really well known. Even though people were pissy with him, people knew something was funny. You know, because then the word started getting out, like, who's going to have his land?
Right. Not right.
No, it's not right. It's sick. This shouldn't have even been a thing to begin with, you know?
So now let's fast forward. You have all these people that have died. And now we're at a point where we're 200 years past and no one knows exactly where Gallows Hill is, which is the location of where the hangings took place. Kat, why did it take 200 years to find Gallows Hill?
So, they had some suspicions as to where it was. So, it's interesting because I believe they found recently the trenches. And that's how they were able to validate Gallows Hill. Gallows Hill was on some random hillside. It's actually like in someone's like fenced up area behind their house. Okay, so like that poor family that didn't know.
Why do we have so much paranormal activity in our house? George, I have no idea what's going on. Everything's getting moved.
That house. I want to go to that house. But there was no like specific spot where you could see it. Like, it wasn't a place where you could see it clearly. And there was a club at a local school that was trying to, you know, figure out where Gallows Hill was or where the trenches were, because there was Gallows Hill and then there was like a shallow part in the ground where they would like roll the bodies into this hole and just like leave them there.
No, this is like a university, right, in Mass?
Yeah. Yep.
So in this university there is a club that's like a probably like an artifact club, maybe historical society. And they decide what we're gonna do is we're gonna find all of the paperwork from the witch trials and we're gonna go through it piece by piece. Bless their hearts, because that's all handwritten and you probably couldn't even read it because it's also scripture cursive, teeny cursive court documents, right?
Yep.
And they go through it piece by piece, and then what happens?
So they tracked it down to one letter. It was one letter by this girl who was actually leaving in a carriage to go back to her home. She went to go and visit Danvers, Salem, just on a holiday, and then to come back. And she was talking in the letter about a smell and about like a grotesque like area in a hillside where, you know, some trials were occurring. It was very cryptic, and I think she was trying to keep it that way if it was going to be read by someone, so to like not startle them, you know, because that stuff was not talked about at that time. And it would not shock me, because what they would do in the trenches is they would roll the body down, and then the families of those people that were hung would go and give them a burial, because it was against the church to bury a witch on property. So they tracked it back through all of those letters down to one, and figured out where the trenches were based off of her description of trees and hillside.
So it had nothing to do with the government trying to hide the fact that where these people were hung, right? It had nothing to do with that. It just had to do with the fact that in scripture it was only in one place. The location was marked in one letter. And the only way to find that in a needle in a haystack was to do exactly what this university club did, was go through each paper piece by piece.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that they talked about Gallows Hill a lot. There's a lot of artist depictions of Gallows Hill. Obviously, this was back in late 1600s, so the area might have looked different than where it's at now. It's very overgrown and crowded now. But I think instinctively these people knew what they were doing, and they did not want it on paper. They were just gonna put it in the middle of the woods somewhere, kill these innocent people, and roll them in a hole.
That's so messed. Oh my god.
So messed
I
up.
will say though, there had to have been some bad karma that came back. Like, talk about witchcraft from the universe, boo.
Oh, I actually made a YouTube video like a couple months ago now, maybe last month, talking about Judge Jonathan Corwin, because there is still to this day thoughts that there was a curse put on the witch house, because shortly after, it was like 6 or so months after the witch trials, he decided to leave. His like entire family died. All of his kids died. after this was like ended, and that would not shock me at all.
Okay, well, Nikita said, what would have happened if the women wore all black during that time? Laugh out loud. And Caffeinated Christy said, oh my god, the goths wouldn't have survived. The goths and the ravers would be the first to get executed, okay? Kat's got that tattoo of a tree on her arm. They'd be like, witchcraft. Witchcraft.
It's a hobbit hole.
My black lipstick, Krystal, witchcraft. She's being hung.
They would, oh my gosh.
Literally.
It's true. I mean, there was just so many webs of fear for women during that time. It's so ugly.
So ugly. May you all that persecuted burn in hell. Anyways, continue, carry on. Yeah.
There is a Gallows Hill memorial that they did put up a while ago, just as like a placement for where, because they at the time they didn't know where Gallows Hill was specifically, and it is within the Commons of Salem, Massachusetts, and it's really that's the one place that's really sad. The energy does feel very at peace. I think everybody there that passed on from that scenario and situation are now at peace because people have been pardoned. They, by the way, they weren't officially pardoned until like early 2000s, I'd like to add, from the trials. So that was messed up. But every time I go there, there are always fresh. Ew, I just said flesh flowers.
There's flesh flowers if you're ever interested.
Flowers.
Check out the flesh flowers. They're the best.
But on all of the 19 headstones of the 19 people that were hung, there are, I almost said it again, flowers.
Okay, wait a second. This is another thing I think you should address just because you've been there freaking 400 times and I hate you because I was supposed to be there in May. I was supposed to be there last May. And COVID killed my dreams of being in Salem, okay? You have also said this along with other people that I know that, know Salem, Massachusetts quite familiar, right? Okay? There are people that respect and have the right to reserve to carry on the witchy traditions. And that includes witchy restaurants and witchy stores, and the sidewalks are witchy. But then now there's another dark side to this too, right? Now you have to be careful with what kind of stores you go just walking in Salem.
Oh my god.
Right?
Yeah.
So why don't you share that? Seriously, because I think people need to be well aware energetically. Like, don't just expect to walk into Salem and think everybody's warm welcoming you, because once again, we're going back to the light and dark balance here. You're going to find balance of good and you're going to find balance of bad. So if you are an energy reader, which I assume if you're into paranormal and you are, pay the F attention to when you're walking in a store in Salem. So carry on, Kat. Go ahead.
Be really mindful. There's a lot of beautiful souls that are there that are practitioners, witchcraft practitioners, and really beautiful. Coven's Cottage, definitely recommend. Owned by a generation of witches, and it's gorgeous in there, but it's extremely energetic, like powerful energy in there. Powerful, but beautiful. But there is one place, and I can't even really remember the name, which is good. I think it's something.
Which is
bookstore.
good.
I can't remember what it is. All right?
It's good. I can't remember.
I would like to add, not that this really means anything, but there is a Church of Salem, Church of Satan in Salem.
I was like, there's a Church of Salem? Let's go.
Church of Salem. Let's just start the comment. Oh, we should start that.
Ooh, let's do it.
Let's go start that.
Yeah, we could be like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina without the sacrifices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Just all the flowers and the craft.
You mean the flesh flowers?
The flesh. It's been a long life, okay? It's been a long life. So I went into this one bookstore, gift shop type of thing, and there were two guys behind the counter. And you meet a lot of people from a lot of eclectic backgrounds, which is fine. Not knocking that. But I do knock the warlocks that own that building, because they were extremely forward.
You need to watch your surroundings. Like,
go with a friend.
You need to never go alone.
I told a friend, about that shop that hadn't been to Salem in a while, and they never went into the store, and I told her my situation, and she wanted to go in despite me what I told her, and I said, I am not going with you, so you go by yourself with the stuff I told you, and you tell me how you feel. She was in and out within less than a minute and told me she thought she was gonna throw up. Right, so I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, now being mindful though of the situation, this particular store, Kat has told me about it several times. This is the good and bad of things, and sometimes people decide to do harm to you when you may not know it. And this particular store, they have mirrors that are facing each other, which creates portals.
Yes.
And you have to walk through an area where the mirrors are all facing each other in order to get through the store. So that's what I'm saying when you need to pay attention to your surroundings, because if they're doing black magic or dark magic, doesn't even have to be black magic. It can just be dark magic or Satanism, who knows, Luciferianism, you don't know. And now they have amplifying things in there, such as high EMFs mixed with large mirrors facing each other. That's why you have to pay attention to your surroundings, because now you have this sort of huge battery, essentially, in the store that is magnifying the witchcraft that they're doing. And if you don't pay attention to that and you're in there too long, that's when you're susceptible to attachments. You're susceptible to getting sick. Like she said, her friend walked out and almost threw up. So you need to pay attention to your surroundings, not in a sense of if there's a guy that's following you and walking up behind you, pay attention to that too. But I'm talking energetically and speaking from a magic stance. If you're familiar with things on the channel that I've educated you guys on, like setting up portals through mirrors, pay attention to that. Pay attention.
Yeah, just to give like a quick overview of what happened. There are these two brothers that are warlocks that own the store. They saw me immediately as a woman, and they were really pushing me to go to the back of the building. They'd asked me if I'd like been in the store before. I said no, and the front part of it's pretty, it has your typical like tarot cards, witchy stuff, okay? As you start to go back, there was the Satanist section. So they had like all Satanist like merch, satanic merch.
Now, do
like
all
that.
stores have satanic sections?
No, I think there's only about 2 or 3 stores that I know of that do, but the energy in those other ones aren't
Good.
bad. They're just there to be inclusive because of the Church of Satan that's in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And you will know the difference when you walk in. But he kept trying to push me further, and I was trying to leave, but both of the brothers were at either end of the store, okay? At this point, I had my friend with me, and from Indiana, and he immediately looked at me and was like, there's something wrong here, because where they were trying to push me was the back corner of the room where it had all of these ancient Egyptian statues, which, by the way, were beautiful, because I love ancient Egypt, but there were 2 mirrors on the floor at the base of this open door, and I said, I refuse to go near those mirrors. There's something wrong. There was something wrong there, and I just ran out of there. I ran out of there, and I will never go back again.
Right.
Never. I want to go back. I think I'm going to be going back in a few weeks, so I'll have to take a picture of the building to show you guys, so you guys are just aware, and then you make your own judgment call.
Yep.
So.
Either
Crazy.
go in and burn with Satan or don't. It's really up to you.
Don't go in that back room. If you go in there, do not go in that back room. I'm telling you, it's not good. It's bad news bears. They probably have flesh flowers back there. Okay, I want that.
Flesh flowers. Why am I laughing? It's so bad.
So bad.
Okay, we need to revise our discussion to Ghost Adventures now.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I feel like we've made a very clear point at this point that there is white and dark and balance in everything that you do, and there shouldn't be extremes to any side of it. You know what I mean?
No.
Which, by the way, being the host of Ghost Girl Diaries for the last 10 years, I can't tell you how many Bible thumper messages I've gotten from people that are like, you're gonna go to hell. And I'm like, girl, I've already been there. Do you want to come with me? Come on
Let's
down.
be
No, let's go. I have a seat for you saved, you know? No, but once again, with balance, like, I don't shove my beliefs down people's throat, and I expect the same in return. You know what I mean? And just because I'm investigating paranormal, doesn't mean I'm a Satan worshiper. You know, just because I want to change my last name to Morningstar, doesn't mean I'm a Luciferian. Okay?
I
Just
love
kidding.
that though. It's pretty.
I do like Morning Star. Isn't that pretty? It's pretty. It has nothing to do with Lucifer. Anyway.
No.
Someone said people act weird in retail in mass ? So I guess they're shocked that you said that exists. It's true though, right? I mean, and that's not the only one.
No, but you get a sense, and like when you're in there, I would say give yourself like an hour to walk around the commons because it does go down either side of the streets, and just get a feel for it. You're gonna know where you're gonna walk into and where you're not, and just trust that gut instinct. That's it.
Listen to your gut. And I think you do that anywhere, you know, like, or you should. If you're not, stop ignoring your higher self or you're going to get hit in the face really hard, okay? Ghost Adventures.
You want to start this one?
I don't really know where to start.
You called me.
Yep. Okay, so say the word, because I keep saying it wrong.
Okay, Brujeria.
Yes.
Is what it's called. Yeah. Krystal called me actually. She had like a creepy psychic moment that was just like really creepy.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, you do it too. Shut up. You do it too. The other day she called me. She's like, I have a message from your guides. Don't shoot the messenger. Okay, I just have something to tell you.
Yeah.
So I called her one day about, a month ago? And I said, I don't know why I'm telling you to say that, or telling you to do this, but I said, I'm telling you that, Cat is Hispanic. She has Mexican on her father's side and Spanish on her father's other side, right? And then on her mom's side, she's Irish, so she has a really good mixture. And I said, I don't know why I'm telling you to do this, but it must be a message from your guides that you need to start practicing brujeria. Is that correct? I said it right?
Perfect.
And I think that you need to tap into that because of your culture and heritage. And Kat was like, that's weird because I've thought about it, but now that I feel like you're giving me this extra boost, I feel like that's a sign from the universe, and I've already started researching it. So as you guys know, Kat has been a practicing green witch for a long time. She's very open about her practices, and she's giving herself an extra boost with her heritage, which is much like me with my Native American spiritual side, right? And it's all about ancestral work, good vibes, energy, healing, drawing things to you, the universe, the practice of the secret, the law of attraction, and incorporating that. Now, I can't say I haven't put a couple people in a jar once or twice, you know what I'm saying?
Freezing spells are great.
Yeah, sometimes if you need a boundary, you just gotta put them in a jar, and I've done it a few times, They have to do something bad to you first, but I've used a jar spell here and there, okay? I'm not gonna lie. I also may or may not have had someone practicing witchcraft in my house with dark magic and dark oils that I found after they were gone, which that made me really scared. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
That's for another stream.
That's another stream that I don't have time for today. I had to get religious prayer and holy candles for that one. But anyways, we'll go back to the regular stream with Ghost Adventures. You took this information. She's been studying it. She loves it. She thinks that it's what she wants to dive into. Now, pause that idea. So that was like a month ago. Ghost Adventures came out with a Brujeria episode, okay? I had started to watch the episode, didn't get back to it. Kat was like, oh, let me know how it is, and then I'll watch it if I need to. I finally bit the bullet, and I watched it the other night. So this is going to be like a miniature Ghost Adventures review, okay? Well, I saw the title of it being the same thing.
Whoa.
What?
Did you hear that?
No, what?
Whoa, that was like a low male voice that came through your mic.
What did it say?
Did anyone else hear that? It was just like, meh. It just sounded like a really low, wow. That was, okay, I'm not crazy. Let me know in the chat if you heard that. That was really loud. Anyway.
It's offensive, you know?
Sorry, it's probably a brujo.
It's not
There's a
you.
brujo over there.
Stop, Kat.
Your ancestor.
Oh, yeah, it was probably like my native ancestors like, no, don't mess with this. Yeah, pretty much. It better not be Ed Gein, because every time I bring up his name, he pops up in my house, and I'm just not having it today, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Anyways, so, going, what?
He's unclean.
You are an unclean spirit. I request to rid you from my home. Okay.
Some rosemary.
Oh, I need a lot more than that, you know what I'm saying?
True.
So, I watched the episode. This was like, what, 2 days ago. I tell Kat, I'm like, oh my God, I have a problem with this episode. But then again, I always have a problem with the episodes because, and Ghost Adventures has been going, they're on like 24 seasons or something ridiculous like that. Like, Jesus Lord.
It's whack.
Okay, people are saying they heard it too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Someone said maybe it was Zach's spirit when he heard the review.
Probably.
I mean,
anything's possible, okay?
Yeah, pretty much.
We're talking about witchcraft, anything's possible.
Okay, so I watched the episode and I was like, I don't know if you guys have seen this episode. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this episode, then don't listen to the review because you're not going to like it. So he immediately starts to say, Brujeria. He starts to Google it and he says that it's all surrounding voodoo dolls and black magic. And then he gets this like dark witch on there that's called the Hood Witch. I don't know where she came from, but she has like 500,000 followers on social media. I was like, damn. Why don't I have that many followers? I'm not a hood witch, you know what I'm saying? And anyway, talking about how dark brujeria is, which is your heritage, what you've been studying. I feel like if there is anybody that has the right to talk about this and the proper way, it is Kat. And I get on the phone with Kat immediately. I'm like, oh my God, you've got to like watch this episode because I think you're going to not like it. Because I think you're going to have a problem, okay?
Yeah.
And Kat's knowledgeable on it, and she's Mexican, and she's Spanish. So she has two sides of it, from the Spain side and the Mexico side. And I'm like, this needs to be a conversation that Kat and I have. Because once again, as we know, Ghost Adventures is always about demons and darkness, and we're going to defeat the demons, and we're going to punch a demon in the face. And I'm going to take him out with my brujeria spells. So we need to start this conversation. So where do you want to start with this, Kat?
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
We're going to start from the beginning. I feel like Sound of Music, do, re, mi here, but with witchcraft.
Dough it up.
So, brujeria is literally just Spanish for witchcraft, okay? If you are a female practicing witch, you'd be called a bruja, and if you are a male, you'd be called a brujo. And it was created in the early 1500s, and it exists in Latin America and Afro-Caribbean culture. So just right off the bat, brujeria is also a mixture of indigenous roots with Catholicism, and this is when it started to stir up some problems within the Latin American and Afro-Caribbean culture community. It was really frowned upon and considered dark and worshiping the devil. So pretty much any type of witchcraft is going to be labeled as such if you have any type of, Jesus roots, okay? Just plain and simple, okay? It's just how it is, okay?
Oh my God, that's like the most authentic laugh I've had in like a really long time. Jesus.
I'm just saying, okay?
Woo!
We call them Jesus roots, all right?
Yeah.
Because it's not just strictly Catholicism where people have problems.
In other words, because the reason I laugh at it is because people are hiding behind religion and hiding behind the name of Jesus, essentially. Mm-hmm. They're saying you cannot believe in Jesus or God if you're a brujeria. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Right.
I like Jesus. I like Christmas. I put up my Salem tree, my Yule tree. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Exactly. It's okay. So, brujeria, a major part of it actually, talking about it with like some of my family, really has to do more with like the green craft. So I found that really interesting, like kind of already practicing that in my own day-to-day, that a major part of it deals with ailments. And
okay, so time out. I just want to get this straight. So what you're saying is brujeria, depending on the background heritage, so depending on Mexico, depending on Spain, depending on Haitian, depending on Cuban, depending on any Caribbean areas, the Dominican Republic, you're saying it's all practice in the eyes of different cultures, but it is called the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
So it just depends on where you're from. So it's like religion. It's like if you're Christian here in Rome, you have Catholicism, and it all stems back to virtually somewhat of the same thing. It's just spurted out in different branches, is what you're saying.
It does, and the branches that get confused, and this is why when I watched it and called Krystal back, I was like, this would be a really great conversation to clear up, because Brujeria does get a bad rap, but it's literally just witchcraft in Spanish. That's literally what it is. So Brujeria is one of the branches. The other branch is Santeria, which is from Cuba again, and then the other branch is Haitian Hoodoo Voodoo. Okay, all three of these branches were created under the Cuban umbrella. Okay, they all kind of broke off, did their own thing. The thing that gets mixed up with Brujeria a lot, especially with the darker side of the magic in general, is Brujeria and Santeria are confused. Santeria, they work with deities. They do animal sacrifices.
Can you explain what the deities are? Can you just briefly?
Yeah, so these deities are, so it's actually really interesting because the word Santeria in Spanish translates to the way of the saints. So their deities are very much like the ones that, if you worship deities in the witchcraft community, it'd be like Hecate, Loki, Thor, like our deities.
You mean I can worship Thor?
Yeah.
Could I worship, what's his name?
Loki? What?
No, not Loki.
Which one?
What's the actor? Chris Hemsworth?
Oh gosh, I wish.
I mean, I'll worship him under the name of Brujeria.
Pretty much already am, okay? Just saying.
Anyways, sorry.
As I take a sip of water. It's fine.
You said Thor and I got a little distracted.
here.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Carry on.
So, I don't know necessarily the exact names of the deities because I don't work with deities personally. But they work with deities, so they do a lot of rituals and they do sacrifices on the light and dark side. Okay. Brujeria does not work with deities. They are on their own path, but within spell work, they work with their ancestors to help channel their path or to help channel the spell work. Ancestors are huge in Brujeria, especially Mexican culture with Dia de los Muertos, which, by the way, came from Cuba. That was a very huge thing, and then the whole Latin community picked it up. So it's just really interesting because they also do, so in Brujeria, they do something called limpia, and it's what's known as a cleansing ritual or a sweeping ritual with rosemary and other cleansing herbs to cleanse a person's body of residual negative energy. And Santeria has very similar things, but it has to do with blood. Okay, so it's they mix the two. And I was telling Krystal this earlier, there's any scenario could happen. Someone could be practicing Brujeria as white magic and get mad and create a voodoo doll, Haitian voodoo, in the same room.
That's a
You know what I mean? It could be, it depends on the situation, but that doesn't mean Brujeria as a whole is black magic or dark
So are
magic.
you saying that in the Ghost Adventures episode, we may have gotten it mixed up and gotten it mixed up with Santeria?
I think so. I think especially hearing, what her name's Bree or the Hood Witch or whatever she's called, she's definitely on the darker side, which is fine, to each their own. But she was more talking on the darker side because that's how it was being portrayed to her from Zach.
Right.
There was also a moment in it, just as a spoiler alert, where they were saying in the basement there was some dark energy that was happening, and someone died, and they found their ashes in a container on the floor with a bunch of candles around it and a picture of the person that died. And they were trying to make it seem like there was some dark ritual happening with these ashes. But
So wait, now ashes, are we saying, are they actual human ashes?
Of the person that died, yeah.
Okay.
They had them in the jar.
Now
or vase.
in Brujeria, is that normal?
Yeah, ancestry work is very normal. And
Now, are those ashes being abused, or is it in the case of protection by the ancestors when you're doing spell work?
I would say protected, and the only reason is this. They were really clear in the video with the color correspondence that they were putting in the episode. It was white candles that were surrounding the ashes with the picture of the deceased loved one. To me, immediately, and especially with the deep cultural roots, Latin American roots of Brujeria, that immediately means to me they were just respecting them, worshiping them. making sure that they were okay, especially if it was a recent situation, or they had just gotten the ashes, and they were letting the white candles burn down so they could see this realm and enter in, so they can talk with their loved ones.
Wait, okay, I want you to repeat that again. I want you to repeat that again for anybody that missed it. They were lighting the candles so that they could see the other realm, so that they walk through and make sure that they get to the other side.
And they'll leave them like that. So when they said that there was candle wax everywhere and they were all weirded out, like, the practitioner will open that door for them to say, like, uncle or someone, like, come through, I'm here, I'm going to leave the light on for you and I'm going to go to bed. Is pretty much what it is. In a safe space, fire safe, but, they were also mixed up because there was a voodoo doll there, or someone dark was practicing, like, the dark aspect of Brujeria, which might have been more Santeria than Brujeria. But they're both considered Spanish witchcraft. So that was kind of a broad term when they mentioned that in the episode in general, where she didn't remember the word.
Okay, let's just talk about, oh god. The woman is on the couch and she's like mumbling and she's like, and like she's like having like a seizure. And she's like, I'm so scared. She's up in the corner. She's like, ah, like pointing up to the corner. And I'm like, are you okay, bitch? Do you need some water? Somebody get her a tea or something. She needs something to drink. She's afraid, right? Like, but once again, when you're doing this kind of spell work, they're calling on their ancestors to come through. Were they summoning in demons, Cat?
Not from the ashes standpoint, but they also weren't very clear as to what else was going on in the episode. To me, I felt like there was a missing link they weren't saying. And I don't know what that was, because they were riding on more her saying she was going to kill someone, and the ashes downstairs, and there was like a missing piece of information, I felt, to kind of like pull it all together.
But now, if we're saying this is all dark and demons, why didn't they get more demonic activity when they were actually investigating?
Yeah, there was not that much evidence, and honestly, the only piece of evidence they got was of the husband that passed on.
And the door opened and closed, but it was like, I'm leaving, I'm going, guys, y'all. I don't know what y'all are doing upstairs. I'm going out this door.
I feel like if this family was going to be making claims that this dark energy or demon or whatever killed this person's husband, there would have been some darker stuff happening. Now Zach was saying, oh, did the demon follow them to the hotel?
It's a mood.
That is a mood. But I don't know how accurate that would be, because I feel like they would be calling someone. You know what I mean? Like, if there was the way that they were panicking in their own home, I feel like they would be panicking that same way in their hotel, if that makes sense.
No, but okay, so after you practice this, and let's say you've invited, like, they got the number 15 on the spirit box, right? They've invited 15, we're not going to call them demons, we're going to call them spirits. There's 15 spirits in the house, okay? Because clearly it wasn't dark. Y'all are just afraid of a bunch of ancestors, and you need to have the house blessed, and you need to sage, and you need to get them out. And that's just sort of it. You need to ask them to leave. I don't understand why people get so afraid if their house is haunted, why they can't take it on themselves. Just tell it to go. You're not allowed to be here, bitch. You don't pay rent. You can't stay in my house.
It's true.
But then you sit there in more fear and crying, and you're upset. And these people are like, I don't know. I got summoned in here. I don't know how to get out. Can somebody help me get home? I'm stuck here. I came through the white light. They said, Uncle, leave the light on. I walked in, and then the time I went to leave, the light was off. Where do I go? Like, literally. Like, it's not always scary and darkness, and I didn't sense the darkness at all in that episode. And I was really concerned. Okay, now back up again. The Hood Witch says a few things I don't agree with, because I've done spell work with Cat, and I know spell work. I don't practice as much as Cat, but I know spell work. Like I said, I've done a few jar spells in my heyday, okay? One, how do you feel about leaving 3 jars of pneumonia open for 3 days? Do you think that's healthy to be breathing in, whether that's a spell you found online or not?
No. I feel like that would almost cause, like, brain, like, hallucinogens or something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you would hallucinate after a period of time.
Yeah,
It would make it worse.
The biggest thing I would like to say for this stream is, please don't, if you feel like you have an entity in the house or entities, the last thing you should be resorting to is putting pneumonia in jars and leaving it around your house. Your animals might be able to get to it. Children might be able to reach it. And I just don't think in general you should be smelling pneumonia. I think that was reckless for them to put that on the interview because I don't find it safe.
She was literally like
rambling.
Get water. She was like, get water
and ammonia
and leave it there for 3 days.
Yeah,
and I'm
don't.
Like, if these people are like really scared and going through stuff, I'm not gonna wait 3 days.
Well, and if these people are really that, where's Bishop Brian? Seriously, whether he's real or not. No, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I'd rather have Bishop Brian and what's her name, Sister Mary or something, Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, I don't know. Call in Mother Teresa, okay? I'd rather have them there than 3 jars of freaking pneumonia out where I'm dying. I have asthma. What do I do if I got the asthma, okay?
Well, you know what's even crazier is like the mom said she also had asthma. And then literally, like in the interview, she's like, I have real asthma.
I'm screaming.
I couldn't breathe, and I'm like, you're still telling people to put ammonia in their house and leave it there for 3 days, like, and then to drive like.
Wait.
From the home.
Wait, can we address that? Because I was screaming, okay? Once again, practicing witchcraft here. Cat, raise your hand, okay? Both of us here, okay? Have you done jar work before?
Yes.
Of course you have, because it's fun. Let's put somebody in a jar. That doesn't mean you're putting bad magic on them. When you put someone or something in a jar, it means you're setting up a boundary. I don't want this person to talk to me ever again. Therefore, I'm going to put them in a jar and freeze it. Leave me alone forever, okay? Now, what you're supposed to do is take the jar very far from your home, okay? Don't bury it in your own land or you're setting the energy in your land, okay? You need to take it far away. Now, they made it look like they're driving through some like sandy mountains and they threw the jar out the window, okay? That's also not safe for a lot of reasons. One, you don't want an animal to get it, and if you're practicing witch, brujeria, or of anything, you're still going to respect life. Do not just take a jar and throw it out the damn window. An animal might eat it. You're also susceptible. Like, what if there's insects on the ground that drink the pneumonia? Don't just get rid of the jar. Go bury it and don't break it. What are you thinking? Just do a drive-by. Just start chucking them out the window. Like,
checking people's houses. You just throw like spell jars. Jesus.
You get a demon, and you get a demon, and you also get a demon.
You get a demon. It's great. Demons all around. Yeah, I know. It's messed up. It was really messed up, and I just wasn't. I don't know. I also felt like the whole thing, kind of like what you had told me earlier today, Krystal, that it felt very rushed. Like, her interview was probably, like, really last minute, and I felt like she was just kind of saying whatever she could to fit the aesthetic of, like, what Ghost Adventures is trying to portray, which is fine.
She did fit the aesthetic. Yeah, that's what they were. They were looking for somebody dark. They got somebody dark, and there's no disrespect to her. She has a lot of followers on social media. She definitely came off as a dark witch to me, personally. Which is fine. Everybody to each their own. But I didn't agree with what she was saying because I know Kat's heritage. I know what she's been studying, and it was not matching up with what Kat was saying, and that was the concern that I had coming out.
Yeah, it was weird. That was very strange.
And I feel like if you're gonna teach people about spells, like jar spells, then you better finish what you said, because otherwise you're gonna have millions of people watch that episode. And they're gonna put a pneumonia out. They're gonna kill themselves breathing in the fumes. What if you had a studio apartment and you have 3 jars of pneumonia in your studio? You're gonna die. You're not gonna make it.
Die, literally.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like when it comes to these shows, you guys don't believe everything as the word of God. No pun intended. Literally, because I feel like jar spells, especially, or any type of spell, are going to be all done differently. It's based off of circumstance, intention, and what you need in that moment. But I feel like at least she should have given just the clear basics. You know what I mean? Been really very clear instead of being this like open-ended, dark.
Go get rid of the jar. Okay, what if somebody drives down to their local Piggly Wiggly and drops the jar off in the gas station, parking lot, in the trash can? Now either you have a haunted trash can or a haunted gas station. And that's not fair. to those owners. What did they do to deserve that demon? Nothing. Go out to the middle of nowhere and bury it. Get rid of it the right way, okay?
True. And
don't be a baby naive witch and throw it out the window, okay?
Please don't do that. Like, really, don't do that. Please don't do that ever. But
Oh my
to
God.
tie it to Salem witch trials, or to witch trials, Brujeria, being traced back to like the 1500s, in the early 1800s into the early 1900s, there were attacks put on people that practiced Brujeria. So it was almost like a witch trial in itself, but without it being named that. They were pretty much just trying to wipe everybody out without putting it anywhere,
Right.
literally. And yeah, it's just messed up. It's really messed up. I feel like also with just like the Latin culture in general, there's a major line of like respect and disrespect when it comes to the craft as a whole, because there's a deep family line with it. Same with normal witchcraft. Same with any type of, you know, anything. But when you're mixing in dark with a craft of brujeria that's mainly light, that's very it's misinformation, and that's when things can get dangerous. That's when things can get dangerous. So I feel like if they were gonna do anything, they should have labeled it as like Santeria. They shouldn't have done brujeria. I'm telling you, because I'd be shocked. I'd be interested to see what some brujos are saying about it.
Right. Well, and then on the flip side too, you know, I don't really like, I mean, yes, I've done like witchcraft and spells with Kat and even by myself, but I don't really consider myself a witch. And the reason is because I follow my grandmother's roots, my tribe's roots, Cherokee roots, Native American roots, which technically is a version of magic work, but they don't call themselves, they call themselves spiritual practitioners is really the word for it. Then you can get deeper into the healing, and then you can actually be like a shaman or a druid. But in order to really learn the real ways, you have to be like on the reses and like work with that. You have to be kind of chosen. Like they believe the spirits choose you. You don't get to just wake up one day and be like, hey, I want to be a shaman. Like that's not how it works. But when that was why it affected me, because I do apply my spiritualism from my grandmother and what she taught me in the tribe. And the first thing I thought of was the harm in taking a jar and just getting rid of it. Like when you're working with spiritual, Native American spiritualism, which is what I work with, you once again respect all life. You respect all versions of life, down to like an ant pile, down to like an insect, like literally. Like when I get spiders in my house, I throw them outside. Like I don't kill them, I throw them outside. Unless it was like if I was in Australia and it was those big ass spiders, like no, I'd be burning the whole house down. But no, I would just burn. I would just walk away and burn my house down. Bye. You can take the whole thing. Bye. Yeah, no, live there and have a nice life. But with little spiders, I take them and I throw them outside. But like when I'm thinking of someone saying, oh yeah, do a, you know, and spell work does exist with Native Americans for sure. Of course it does. Usually it's more on the green witch side as well. It's also calling on your ancestors. Like you don't want to mess with me. Like I've had people actually admit to me they put spells on me and they put black magic spells on me. And my ancestors know and they go after them. Like, and I've seen it happen. So like, it's scary. You don't want to go after me. Like I'm so protective divinely. It's not even funny. But that's also because I respect my roots and my heritage. And that's what Kat's saying. You don't want to mix the wrong thing in with it, because then your ancestors will punish you, because they're saying you're using your gift and like your bloodline in an incorrect, invalidating way that we don't approve of. And we can take it away as fast as we've given you those like abilities. And
It's true.
When I thought of her in the video saying, just take the spell jar and get rid of it. And the way the cinematography looked was they're driving down literally a sand dune and it looked like the car was going to throw the jar out the window. It did. And it scares me, because I do think of like, you know, my heritage or my spell work is, what if a deer goes up to it and eats the glass and it kills the deer? Like it's part of the circle of life. Like don't litter. Don't just get rid of it. Like that's not how this works. And if it has toxic chemicals in it, like formaldehyde or whatever people use, or in her case, what was it? Ammonia. That can affect the ecosystem. You don't want to just throw, you know what I mean? So that's why I called Kat immediately, because I was like, I'm affected by what she said. and I don't agree with it on my spiritual side, which is, it's similar to being in the Brujeria side, except Cat's obviously a different heritage. But it's respecting and it's doing things correctly, and especially you shouldn't be teaching the public wrong things, because you're going to get somebody out there that does it wrong, and they're going to listen to her. Yeah.
And believes it. You know, like, that's the beautiful thing of any Christian path, is that there's no, like, set way to do things other than just, like, the basics. Like, don't be an ass.
That's a mood. Please don't.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, be careful with your intentions, but they're not, like, rule books. And the problem I have with it being in a, you know, and I think Krystal would agree, like, the problem I see with that being in a show that a lot of people see as, like, fact, that's when things can get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
It can get dangerous. Do your research it. I believe she said 8 jars.
Whoa.
In the episode, she
I wouldn't
said
be
8
wasting
jars,
that many.
and I was like, that
okay.
is not a big house.
But then, okay, let's play devil's advocate for a minute, because that's my favorite thing. So even if she's saying to take 8 jars and capture essentially she's saying the ammonia will attract the dark energy or the entity, okay? They don't even know what the entity is yet. And if it can be done, and if it can be trapped, which I don't know if it can be by ammonia, that's something I've never heard of. That's some toxic chemicals. To me, that's definitely dark magic if you're using ammonia, in my opinion. Just go buy some sage. It's $5. Don't kill yourself with ammonia.
Yeah.
But, like, what if you're trapping their ancestors?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you're playing devil's advocate, what if you're trapping a good soul? Don't give the wrong information out until you're certain what you're doing. I don't think you should trap anything, in my opinion.
Nope.
That sounds like the Tennessee Wraith Chasers up in here, going into veteran hospitals, trapping demons and blowing them up in, like, devil's boxes. You know what I mean?
So stupid.
It wears me out. It exhausts me. It's exhausting.
This has been a good chat.
Trying to clean up this paranormal community. I'm constantly picking up y'all's trash, okay? And I'm real sick of it.
Just sign already.
Just sign us already. God.
I'm looking through comments. See what we got. Oh, Sister Mary Jones.
Oh, I called her Mother Teresa. Definitely not.
I call her the beer drinker.
The beer drinker.
I don't mean any disrespect with that. I'm just saying.
No, she was.
I will never get that image out of my head after seeing that clip.
Facebook
like,
Live.
What's happening?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of, like, a nun. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
Kicked
crazy.
back with the beer on her couch. She's on Facebook Live, Sister Mary. She was on Facebook Live, and they're talking about, like, religious affirmations and, like, exorcisms, and they pan to Sister Mary, and she's got, like, her leg kicked up. She's throwing back a brewski. I'm like, yep,
you know what?
that's a nun
Each
right
their
there.
own. To each their own, but dang, that was like, what is that?
Screaming.
What am I looking at?
I can't. I literally can't. Well, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. We appreciate you guys so much. This will be uploaded as a YouTube video and as a podcast. Next week, Elfie will be back. And I think if we can squeeze in the book interview next week, we might try to do that. I'll get with Kat. It'll probably either be next week or the following week after that. Sorry we had some technical difficulties because Kat has to go sage now. And clearly I do too. I've got some mail hanging out in here. Like, I don't have time for this. Oh, I would like to make a small little announcement, not trying to be petty. But I have an assistant that has been, they're basically helping run my social media. I haven't been able to keep up with, like, comments, private messages, DMs on Instagram, both the Ghost Girl Diaries page and the Krystal Leandra page, along with weeding out any important emails that I have. There's a couple of little housekeeping things I'd like to say. Please don't email my professional email unless it's regarding a business deal, because apparently I've had quite a few emails of fans emailing. I think somebody asked me for my phone number as well. I don't have a public phone number. I don't give out my phone number. Thank God I have my assistant now that's able to, like, sort of weed these through for me. But if you guys clutter up my professional email, that stops me from getting to people that I need to get to with the film aspect. So please don't clutter up the email. Only email my professional email if it's regarding a professional ordeal. because otherwise you're stopping my progress. Don't stop my progress. Also, I don't give out my phone number. I don't have a public phone number to give out. If you're trying to get a hold of me, Kat goes through my emails and DMs, and so does my assistant. They get sent to me after they've been filtered. So I'm just putting it out there just because we don't want to stop progress. We want to keep going. Make sure you guys are following us on social media. I'm going to hopefully have another couple of little videos up this weekend on the YouTube channel. I'm going to do a welcome video for our new memberships that are coming in. Kat, do you have any housekeeping things you'd like to add or anything you want to add to the end of the stream?
You know what? No, not much actually. I mean, I have a YouTube video that just uploaded, and I'm excited to do the interview with Krystal soon.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really great. Get her book if you haven't. Seriously, it's so good. It's so good.
I know. I read a chapter last night because I haven't touched it since I let it. I released it, and I picked my book up last night because there's a couple little things in there that are that I screwed up, but whatever. And so it bothers me when I read it when I have a couple little grammar issues that are in there. But I read a chapter, and I was like, damn, this is good. Who wrote this? I was like, who wrote this book? You know what I'm saying?
I so did.
Who's that?
It's so good. It's so good.
So thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys are with it. I don't know. That was a horrible outro.
Flesh flowers.
Oh my God. I think you gave it to me,
Sorry.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This will be up as a podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Make sure you're following us on social media. And as always, we will catch you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Back from the dead.